Hey guys, so today I have a few matches with my Chaos Control deck that I've been working on a little bit. I was just on Dueling Book randomly, and I played against SolMasterMatt, who's a really nice guy and a warrior player, a really good warrior player. And we just played one match, and then one match turned into two, and then two turned into three to tie break it. And the gameplay was just really fun, and the games were pretty back and forth. I made a ton of mistakes, but it was a really good learning experience. A couple of rulings that I didn't realize, which is crazy given how long I've been playing this game. And GOAT format is like almost a 20-year-old format, but that's the awesome thing about it, right? Like, even if you've been playing for a long time, you could still find yourself in different situations that you've just never been in before, or you find yourself in a situation with a card that you've seen before and maybe even used before, but you've just never been in that situation before, so you just don't realize how it interacts and what the ruling is in that situation. So there were a couple of those moments here for me. But yeah, so this is the list I was playing. Been kind of going back and forth with this Chaos Control list. I don't have a ton of hours in terms of piloting Chaos Control, but I'm trying to get better at the deck. So with that, let's just jump right into the replays. So like I said, SolMasterMatt is on Warriors. I'm on Chaos Control. I think he takes first this first match. Okay, so let's see. I think the first match I played pretty solid. Second match, I started to make a lot of misplays. It's also kind of late over here right now. It's like almost 1 a.m. But okay, so this is interesting, and I noticed this a couple of times when I was playing against him. I noticed that he would open up with monsters in his hand and opt to just not normal summon them on the first turn, which is interesting to me. Usually as an aggro warrior player, I assume that you kind of want to start building up a field presence, especially if you're going first. But he opted not to, and his back row is pretty solid, so he has protection. But that's an interesting strat that I'm just not really familiar with, since I also don't really have much experience playing warriors or aggro. But he did that a couple times, which I thought was interesting. Matt, if you're watching this video, feel free to comment and let me know your thought process behind that. But already this is not looking super great, but I got some Tsukiyomis to deal. Oh, okay, so I already missed an interesting decision point right there. So you could see he had one set, and then I set my roll decree, and then on his turn he set Dust Tornado. I was highly considering activating my roll decree. I was highly considering activating my roll decree in his end phase, and if I had done that, I would be in a really good situation right now because he had just set his Dust Tornado and then wouldn't be able to activate Ring of Destruction since I didn't have a face of monster. But I was afraid that this card that was already set was a Dust Tornado, and if I activate it in my end phase, that he would just Dust Tornado it. I was thinking maybe he was saving the Dust Tornado. Not that he knows I'm playing Roll Decree, but maybe he was saving the Dust Tornado until I try to activate the Roll Decree. So I was thinking that this face down card might already be a Dust Tornado. I mean, I guess he would have been more likely to just rip the Dust Tornado right away and hit the Decree in my end phase if it was a set Dust Tornado. But I took a little gamble, probably the wrong choice right there actually, and now I'm getting punished for it. Yeah, so that just totally changes the tide of the game. That one decision to not activate the Roll Decree puts me really quite far behind. Luckily, I have this Spirit Reaper to kind of stall a little bit. I'm going to try to make Thousand Eyes, but he does have the Mirror Force, and then he has the Tribe Infected Virus right there. So that's the thing about Control, Go Control, Chaos Control, but Control in general. Like, it's a very hard deck to play. Literally making one wrong move can cost you the game. And the same thing with Warriors. Like, Warriors, you have to play a very tight game just because you don't really have that many cards that generate you advantage. Most of your advantage is generated from battle and making, smart decisions and getting incremental advantage and slowly gaining tempo that way. So Warriors is a pretty, and also solemn judgmenting at the right time, the right cards. So Warriors have to play a pretty tight game. Control, it's a little bit more forgiving for sure, but you can see right there, like, just one wrong decision can be very pivotal. which goes for a lot of decks, but I think especially in Control and Warriors that's the case. Okay, so game two, I have Royal Decree online, so okay, one card is shut off. He has a book, which is nice for him. I have to deal with this King Tiger, which is going to be a little bit tricky. It's going to be a little bit tricky, but I do have a Snatch Steal, so let's see if that does anything. So I preemptively decide to tribute the King Tiger. I'm kind of afraid that he might have like MST or something if I try to attack into this, and then the King Tiger is going to go back to his field, and then I'm going to have a really hard time getting rid of the King Tiger. So I'm like, let's just get rid of this right off the bat. And I go for a Dark Bolter play because I'm thinking that this might be a DD Warrior Lady. So I go for Dark Bolter. Ends up being a pretty solid play, and now I'm just beating him down. He sided in Mobius because he saw I was on Royal Decree, so that makes sense. And now I'm just going to try to go for a game, put him on a 2-turn clock. And he's got Pot of Greed, but he decides to just scoop it up. Okay, going into game 3 of match 1. So start with Breaker, pop the back row. He opts to not compulse this, presumably because he has monsters that can run right over it, and he doesn't want me to be able to use its effect again, which is understandable. Activate Scapegoat in the end phase. He's got a dead back row right now, so I'm feeling pretty good. You can see right there, I wasn't paying attention, guys. Like I have a bad habit of playing late at night. I mean, okay, won't make excuses, but I just forgot to Thunder Dragon on my first turn. I just forgot to do it, so I'm like, I was just really hoping that I didn't draw the second Thunder Dragon, because that would have been just a really stupid, unnecessary misplay. But it actually works out in my favor because I draw this Mobius, which is a card that I want to see, especially right now since I'm going to have Thousand Eyes live. So I failed, but failed successfully right there. So going for the 1800. He makes a cool play right here. He MSTs the card equipped to Thousand Eyes, so Thousand Eyes just kills itself. I make another Thousand Eyes in main phase 2. Here's an interesting play. Probably another misplay right here, to be honest. I set this on Byra. I was like kind of hoping to bait out maybe a Nobleman, and also just didn't want to leave a card face up and give him information about what it was, and was thinking I could tribute it, but it ends up being unfortunate. And I'm like, okay, even if he has to get rid of the Thousand Eyes, right? So how's he going to do that? He's going to summon Exiled Force, is probably the most likely option, since he hasn't used any Rotas yet. So I'm like, okay, he has to waste his normal summon to get rid of this, and then my Zambiro will be live. Alternatively, he'll waste, a Nobleman of cross out on that or something. But it was probably not the best idea to put it face down. I'm not really sure. If it was face up, I mean, it doesn't really make a difference here because he has this BLS. If it was face up, I just would have taken even more damage. So luckily, he doesn't have the Solemn for this tribe, so I get a really good value Tribe Infected Virus. Probably the best tribe you could ever ask for in that situation. I'm trying to stall out with this Serpent. He hits Delinquent Duo, but he hits Thunder Dragon. So I'm still in a decent position right here. Okay, he suck. Oh, no. I'm in a really good position. I actually MST'd his Sakuretsu, so nice. Oh, okay, what's going on here? Sorry, I thought the game was over. So I MST'd his Sakuretsu, put him at 400 life. Sorry, guys, I thought the game was over already. And he activates Graceful and top decks into a Snatch Steal, which is a crazy top deck right now. So he's still in the game, but he can only attack with one card at a time, which is fine because I have Serpent. So I normal summon this Kaiku. I'm just really hoping that he has no way to get rid of it, like Exiled Force or something like that. But my plan is, he can't run this over. As long as he has no way to free up the slot for Thousand Eyes, my Kaiku is going to live. And then next turn I could tribute for Mobius and go for game. So that's exactly what I tried to do. I tried to go for Mobius. He top decked a Solemn the turn before, so fuck me, right? um, so this is pretty back and forth already. Um, I'm just trying to stall out with this Serpent, but then I top deck Heavy Storm, which is a great top deck. And then that is match one. So I took match one. Match two is where I start to misplay, especially this first game. I got a little bit tilted here, not gonna lie. So I'm full disclosure, disclaimer. I'm about to make a series of really just dumb misplays right here. But I got kind of tilted when he hit my Pot of Greed with his Delinquent Duo. So right off the bat, I'm like already kind of tilted. And then I have a Nobleman cross out, which is dead. Luckily, I have my own duo, so fight fire with fire. So he knocks my Magician of Faith. I suppose I could have set the Serpent first to try to bait out the knock, especially because Greed is in the graveyard. But I took a little bit of gamble there and set the Magician of Faith, and now I got punished for it. Okay, so Donzaloo, he hits the best one in my hand. So at this point, I'm kind of tilted. And then I top decked another Nobleman. So I'm like super tilted right now. First the Greed hit, then the Sork hit, then the top deck Nobleman. So I'm tilted right now, and I think I'm probably gonna lose anyway. But I forgot to add back Cinders of Serpent, and I forgot to add it back like 2 turns in a row, or 2 or 3 turns in a row. Not gonna lie. Luckily, he hits the worst one right here. I finally remember to add it back. That goes through. I opt to not attack because I assume that he has a battle trap. So I'm going to wait and then try to get some value out of Tsukiyomi next turn. And that actually works out because he did have a battle trap. So it was the right move right there because he would have gone for game. So I forget to add it back Serpent for the second turn right here, which is just so stupid. Now that I see his back row, he top decks Torrential the turn before, which is really unfortunate for me. But he activates Torrential right here. He has no monsters, but then he top deck. Wow. Okay, he top decked that monster. Wow. Okay, nice top deck. Okay, so that's game one of match two. I'm going first right now. Open up with Decree. By the way, my siding strategy here is when I was going first, I sided in the third Decree. When I was going second, I tended to side in just regular traps like Mirror Force and Torrential over the Decrees, because I know he's probably on triple Dust Tornado. I saw he also brought in Mobius, so I'm like, okay, going second, Decree is going to be a lot worse, especially if I, possibly open multiple or, something like that. So that was my logic there. This is the perfect situation, and why you set Sanguine first if you have it. You can just make them make suboptimal plays, like Mystic Swordsman. So I lock up his back row, which this is nice. I lock up his back row and I hit 3. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. I decided to just attack with Tsukiyomi, and this is not an explicit misplay, but maybe I should not have discarded Serpent right here. Maybe I should have discarded Thunder Dragon instead. And the reason for that is if he has Kaiku, then he could banish my Serpent. So it's a little bit vulnerable right now. So maybe that was not the best idea. He gets rid of my Royal Decree. I get really lucky. I'm assuming that he has a Solemn Judgment there, but he doesn't. So I get like an incredible value, Heavy Storm. And then I think my play here is Breaker. I like doing this because it makes it awkward for them to set back row into this, especially if you have no back row. You don't have to worry about your opponent snatch stealing it. And really the only out he has here, not the only out, but like the most common one is probably Blade Knight. And then he needs to set 2 cards to make that Blade Knight higher than 1900. So yeah. So this is interesting. He's got 2 battle traps right here, I see. So I pop one of them, I hit the better one, and then I snatch steal. And what I do is I instantly tribute it for Thunder Dragon, because if this is a Dust Tornado or an MST, he could just activate in the battle phase. This is going to go back to his side of the field. And I'm going to have a hard time dealing with that Wangu. So I generally just want the Wangu off the field as quickly as possible. So that's what I do. And I know he doesn't have Mirror Force. If he does have Torrential, that's fine. He's literally in top deck mode, so I'm not afraid about that. And now I can just keep attacking because I know he doesn't have Mirror Force. So he Sakurezi's that. Um, okay, interesting. I have a lot of advantage right now. So now I'm just trying to play a little conservatively. Not go too crazy, but I mean, Mobius is a pretty obvious play right here. Again, if he has Torrential, then he's top decking. But that is game 2 of match 3. Now we're into the tiebreak for game 2 of match 2. Now it's game 3. He opens up completely nasty. He opens up, oh my god, he had Xinjianhu, Zing, or Xinjianhu is how you say it in Chinese. But he's got this. He opens up Dust Shoot, great card. Interesting. This is interesting. I think, yeah, so Warrior, it's a pretty straightforward deck to learn, but I think it's very hard to play and very hard to play well. And there are actually a lot of different things you could do when you get more experienced. I see a lot of people do this and set Rhoda. And to me, this is just kind of crazy, right? Because if I have Heavy Storm, then I'm about to blow out this back row. But maybe he's setting this Rhoda just to, fan out his back row and make it look like he has a Solemn Judgment, because who would set 4 cards without Solemn Judgment? So when you get a little bit better, you can, play these different mind games. You can even set Exiled Force face down. Some people do that. I've seen Le Bounty do that a lot. But anyway, sorry, back to the game. Trap Dust Shoot, not great. He puts back DD Warrior Lady, and he's got the Wangu online. He's ready to lock my back row. This is not a good situation for me. Okay. So he knocks that. Not looking great. Here's a misplay from my part. So interestingly, he doesn't attack into this. He might be afraid of my back row. He might be afraid of Mirror Force. Alternatively, he might be thinking that this is a Gravekeeper Spy, possibly. In that case, he would probably want me to flip it instead of attacking into it. If I flip it, then both of the spies... Well, actually, that's not true. Okay, never mind. Matt, if you're watching this video, let me know why you didn't attack into this face down here. Interesting. But anyway, this is one of those moments where I just, I kind of forgot the ruling of King Tiger Wangu. At one point, when I read this card's text, I realized that it only applies when the monster is normal or special summoned. But in recent history, I've just totally forgotten that when you flip summon it, it doesn't get destroyed by Wangu. So I totally could have flipped this Tsukiyomi right now and tried to attack into this, which, it might have, he's got double book, so, sorry, 1 book, so it probably wouldn't have gone through. But I could flip the Tsukiyomi right now and target the Wangu, and the Tsukiyomi would not get destroyed. But, I just didn't know that right now, or I forgot that. And, I don't have an abundance of experience playing Control, so, I haven't been in this situation too often or ever at all. And when Wangu gets used against me when I'm playing Reasoning Gate, this situation just never comes up because you're never setting cards in Reasoning Gate. So yeah, this was a learning experience for me. I try to Snatch Steal this. He Solemns it. Right now, I could totally flip this Tsukiyomi face up, try to attack into this. He'd probably book it. This goes face down. And then he has to deal with it at some point. I mean, he could deal with it with this. But maybe I could activate Scapegoat there while the Wangu's face down. But it's a misplay. Here is exactly what I'm saying. I thought that this Mystic Swordsman would die because it was flip summon, but Wangu doesn't destroy flip summon. So I try to fan out my back row here in case he has Dust Tornado, set 2 cards and try to ring this. But he has the spicy zinger, or in Chinese, Xinjianhu. So not looking good for me right now. And he top decks the monster, and that is a game. If he didn't top deck the monster, I possibly could have Book of Moon. Okie dokes. So that was, oh, I'm sorry guys, that was match 1? Is that match 1 really? No. That was match 2, I think. That was match 2. Yeah. What is this right now? Okay. Sorry. What's going on here? I think this is match one. This is not the right one. Is this the right one? Okay. I think that this was match 1 and 2, and I think this is the third match. Should be the third match. Okay, yeah, this is the match. This is match 3. So he opens up the absolute nuts right here. Blade Knight set 5, with the Judgment, with the Shinjahu. So that's pretty nasty. He's got this main deck that's wild. Okay, he's got one of these in the main. I think this should be game 1. And he hits me with the Trap Dust Shoot. So uphill battle from here. What do I try to do? So, I could have tried to Snatch Steal this. I could have tried to Tribe Infecting. The reason I didn't do that is I know one of these back rows is definitely Dust Tornado. I'm willing to bait out the Dust Tornado with this back row and then next turn try to Snatch Steal. And I know he also has Solemn Judgment, right? So Tribe might just eat the Solemn Judgment. So if I tried to Tribe and pitch a card, it's probably gonna get Solemn. I mean, I think it would probably get Solemn right away. Maybe not. But the Snatch is definitely not working. So I'm trying to bait out a back row right here. If he has a way to get into Don's Lug, then that just really sucks for me. But I'm taking a little bit of a gamble. So he top decks Call the Haunted. Okay, let's see. So he has no Dust Tornado because I baited it out, and I'm actually able to get the Snatch Steal. He lets it go through. Interesting. But pretty good for me. He has pre-mat to get his Blade Knight back. Unfortunate for me. I ripped the Heavy. I know he's got Solemn. I need to play through it eventually. But this is a pretty decent position. Okay, he turns. Damn, he's got so much recursion right here. Okay, nice. I top deck a Breaker, pop his back row. He's got no way to stop it. And this is a pretty decent spot, but he has Snatch Steal. Okay, but I have Kaiku. And interestingly, I left Kaiku in the main deck because I wanted... Sorry, this is game 1. But when I decided, I leave Kaiku in the deck because I just wanted more ways to run over Wangu when it comes out. So, but this is game 1, sorry. Luckily I had that. And I banish, what do I banish here? I banish 2 lights because I figure light is kind of harder to get into the grave at this point. He just has 1 more Blade Knight and 1 more DD Warrior Lady, and maybe Grandmaster. I top deck Pot of Greed, pretty nice. And now I am in a really good spot. Interesting. It's a really cool play right here. So he zings my back row and chains his Ring of Destruction, so he shuts off my back row and gets to use his ring. Really nice play. I summoned this BLS in main phase 2 because I'm afraid he's going to top deck a monster and just attack me directly, so I kind of have to do this. And he already used Snatch Steal, so I don't need to worry about that. So literally the worst case here is that he, I guess, Exiled Forces this. And then we're both top decking at that point. But he does top deck the Warrior Lady, which is an out, puts him at 200, and then I go for game with the Magician of Faith. He literally had 200 life, and I used Magician of Faith to attack him directly. It's kind of funny. I figured that if he had a Book of Moon right there, then Faith would have gone face down, and that would have been pretty good for me. So, game 2, match 3. Delinquent Duo is my heavy. That sucks. I opt to pitch the the Metamorphosis, keep the Thunder Dragon. And now this is gonna be an uphill battle for sure. He's got a lot of good stuff in the back. He's got the book for my Zambira and the MST for my Mirror Force. Not great. Yeah, not great. Okay, so banish that. Optionally, I could have attacked into the Wangu last turn. It wouldn't really have made a difference since there's no monster I could summon anyway. But I could have done that. Here is another interesting ruling I was unaware of. So I also just don't have that much experience playing against Cliff. But this activates in the damage step, so you can't chain the card that they select. So if you let the attack go through and the damage go through, you can't chain the card that they select to destroy. So that's what I try to do. I was just gonna wait till he chooses one of them, and if he chose Ring, then I would pop the Wangu. But that's not the case. So basically, I have to. He's nice enough to let me use the Ring on attack declaration, kill the Wangu, and then this gets to pop the other card. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I do get to live right here. So I do this in his standby phase, or try to, in case he has another Wangu that he could summon. I'm just trying to get some cards, some Skateboard tokens on the board before he summons it, but he does have the Solemn Judgment. So now it is 1-1, match 3. These matches have been really back and forth. Really just good games, fun games. I open up a really good hand right now, or I mean potentially really good. Yeah, set the Sangan. So love this, love this for me. This feels so good when they attack into Sangan with Mystic Swordsman. Add Snake. And now I'm in a really good spot right now. I'm gonna summon this because if he has Mirror Force or Sakuretsu, I can just book the DD Warrior Lady, and it's another card that he has to deal with, which is pretty good. And I'm gonna save the heavy for a turn that I want to use Metamorphosis. So I'm feeling pretty good about this game, or so far anyway, right? So I book that, and next turn I rip the heavy. He Solemn Judgments it, which is fine for me. He does have the Mirror Force, but it's fine. I summon Zambara main phase 2. I could have optionally tried to meta that card, but I figured this was a pretty safe play. I wasn't expecting this Mobius, to be honest. So right here, okay, I have a couple of things I could do. I have like 3 different things I could do. Which is why control is tricky. But I could try to make a Thousand Eyes, which in retrospect is probably the right play here. But my thought process right here is I'm going to Snatch Steal this Mobius. If he has Dust Tornado or MST, I'm going to summon the Sinister Serpent and Metamorphosis it and just attack him for 24. And if he uses Sakuretsu on this, then he wastes Sakuretsu, on his own monster, and I go 1 for 2, and then main phase 2 I could just summon Kaiku. That's my thought process right here. So I'm gonna try to take this, attack him with it. He takes it, and then main phase 2 I make a critical mistake right here, and this is what loses me this match, I believe. I meta this away. I'm thinking, what's my thought process right here? I have a couple things I could do right here. Main phase 2, I could summon Kaiku. Don't really know why I would do that. I could summon Tsukiyomi to detach it from the Snatch Steal, but if this is Torrential, then that really hurts. So I'm thinking, I could just meta this for Ryu Senshi, shut off his traps. He can't Snatch Steal Ryu Senshi, and he can't attack over Ryu Senshi. The only way he can get rid of it is using Exiled Force, so I thought that was a pretty good play. In retrospect, it ends up costing me the game because he chains Call of the Haunted, bringing back Mobius, and then now my Ryu Senshi is just going to get his ass beat, right? Which, yeah, if this was a Thousand Eyes, then this would be a different story. So this is unfortunate. Does he have Light and Dark? He does not have Light and Dark, luckily. So I'm going to try to stall with this Serpent. Oh, no, sorry. That's not what happens. I use the Liquid Duo, get rid of some good cards, attack into his King Tiger, putting him at 17. He top decks a pre-mat. Come on, man. He top decks pre-mat. Unfortunate. Puts me at 4K, and he's at 9. And then, I'm like, okay, this is it's still a pretty good situation for me. I top decked a Magician of Faith. I'm like, he attacks into this. I'm going to grab back Snatch Steal and then go for game. But then he top decks another monster. Not only that, that's exactly going to be 4,100 damage, and I have 4,000. So Close game, close game. Really, really, really tight game. Really just fun gameplay. And you could see that very small decision points can really change the tide of the entire game and the entire match. Um, so yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this content. Hope you guys learned from some of my mistakes, and thanks for watching.